wanted from this one?
Win. That's what I wanted. Got it. Feeling good.
You wanted more. Obviously, to see them play better, to play better together.
I mean, hey, it's like I said earlier in the week, I mean, great programs, good coaches, great players are going to stumble once in a while. And the response is the key, and learning from it and coming back stronger is the objective, and that's the challenge. So, yeah, I mean, I think we obviously been challenged early in this season, which is a good thing, and we had a good week to kind of really evaluate a lot of things and, figure out, if there's adjustments we need to make, even, hey, with, how we practice, how we talk to each other, just all our behavioral things. And so, kind of really getting back to the nitty gritty of our culture. So, yeah, all in all, it was a good week. It's a lot. It's a lot when you have a week like that for the guys, but they responded.
You said it was the most intense week he's had since he's been here.
Yeah.
So 3 years. Did you?
Well, I mean, players have short memories. So, yeah, I mean, listen, these guys practice hard, all the time. And, we were pretty targeted this week with certain things. And, I felt like it was a really good first step. And you want to come out on Saturday when you've had a week of practice and you want the players to reward themselves with a good performance. And I thought for the most part, we did tonight. And, second half defensively, we could have been better. We kind of backed off that press a little bit and they got a little bit comfortable. And but that's the right thing to do because you're not going to be able to win games probably night in and night out just pressing. You're going to have to be great in the half court defensively. So I'm sure there'll be some things on film we see that we can adjust and get better at.
KJ wasn't in the starting lineup again. What are those conversations like?
Well, it really wasn't planned on early in the week, and KJ came to me the past couple days and asked if I would be open to him not starting. It was his idea. He just felt like maybe he would give other guys some opportunities to get some confidence and kind of put him in a role similar to Pella played a few years ago for us. And so I'm really proud of KJ. And what's cool is you don't always. You make a selfless decision. You make we call in our program an us decision. You make a program for the greater good. I mean, a decision for the greater good. You don't always get rewarded right away, but he came out and got rewarded tonight. And I thought he played extremely well. And, I'm glad he got rewarded because I think that was a very unselfish, ask of him to come off the bench.
It's a one-time thing, or something you can stick with?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think we'll just continue to evaluate it, but I mean, it's something that I'm not afraid to do. You guys, I mean, to me, I know you, Bruce, you and I have had a lot of conversations about starters and all this stuff over the years, and you're more excited about that than I am. I'm more interested in rotation and finishing games and things like that. So, I've never been afraid to bring a starting level player off the bench. And I think when we've been at our best at Arizona, we've quote unquote had, the 7 starter feel. And that's what I hope we can get with this team.
Well, in relation to that, I mean, KJ had the second most minutes and your bench scored 62 points and almost outscored Southern Utah. You're wanting the scoring isn't the most important part of them coming off the bench, but you do want it to be a big part of that, right?
Well, I just think it's really valuable when you add guys off the bench that can contribute in a lot of ways, especially, some offensive firepower. It's good. But I think you look at a lot of KJ's points tonight. I mean, it was probably defense to offense, and so there's lots of ways to impact the game. But, I just think that's, you're a part of a great program when your bench players are, at the level of your starters. And I think, sliding KJ to that spot gives us, a real solid feel that's what we got.
21 fast break points tonight. It's been very difficult the last few games to get some of that, and Arizona's known for that. What have they been doing to prevent?
Well, you got to get stops. You got to get rebounds to run the ball, and we got to continue to evaluate our running game. It's a huge part of what we do, and it just hasn't quite come as easy for this group. And the running game could be a lot of things. It could be. It could be our first post sprinting down the floor, establish an early position. We got to look at that. It usually starts with a ball handler, namely your point guard, pushing and accelerating the pace of the game and just finding easy opportunities. So, I thought Conrad came in and did a good job today. Conrad ended up in some numbered fast break situations, where you have a 3-on-2, a 4-on-3 advantage, and I thought he made really good decisions to get his easy shots. So this is something we got to continue to look at and value and be really opportunistic with.
Did you feel the aggression was there as far as drawing the fouls? You hadn't really had that as much the last few games?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it could be how games are officiated. I mean, it could be, a lot of things that goes into the drawing fouls thing. So, I thought for the most part, we've really been challenging our guys to kind of just hone back in on the basics and the fundamentals, play with 2 feet on the ground, turn down the tough shot to get the better shot. I mean, all the basketball cliches that you guys know and hear of. And I think when you do that, I mean, I think you start getting rewarded with more foul calls. All those things start falling into place. When you jump off 1 foot or try to make a really hard shot, it makes it really hard for the official, especially now with the verticality is part of our game defensively. I mean, I think the officials want to err on the side of not calling the foul. And so, and when you when you kind of launch into somebody and they're kind of vertical, but you're moving the ball around, moving your arms around, I think it's just a lot for the referee to see. And so, the referees don't want to be guessing, so then they don't call the foul. So they're not usually guessing on the side of the offensive player. They're guessing, erring on the side of the defensive player. So we got to be smart there. We got to be smart, and we got to, and you got to be a good enough player to know, yeah, this is the time I can kind of launch off 2 and initiate contact and find a way to finish. Or, you know what, this might be a little tough, so maybe I stop on 2 and play off a shot fake or make a play for a teammate.
About Anthony and his performance a little bit tonight, if there was anything different that he was doing this week?
No. I mean, listen, Deli's, he's pretty laser focused, and I think I knew it might take him a little bit of time to adjust, coming here, but he did practice really well this fall, and all the scrimmages we had, all the things where we started really kept score, he performed. But then you got to go do it under the lights, and it's your first time coming off the bench, and so he had to work himself through those things. And hey, your first kind of real moment away from McHale's a tough one. You're at Wisconsin, it doesn't go good. Your second, you come back, try to rebound from that, you're Duke at home, and you lose a tough game. Then, bam, you go right to the Bahamas for 3 games in 3 days. So he's worked himself through it, I think, and I think you guys are seeing somebody that I'm hoping this guy's a double-figure type scorer in that role, and the way he shoots the ball, I mean, I think he's a guy that can draw a lot of attention and really help us in a lot of other areas.
Real quick, I mean, every week we probably talk to you about Caleb, but just when he's going through still a funk offensively.
I mean, I don't know if he's going through a funk. I think he's just kind of finding his way, on a new team. And I thought for stretches in that game, Caleb was great. I mean, I thought he was. They were really being aggressive on his ball screen, kind of showing on his ball screen, not on anybody else's. I thought he was doing a good job moving the ball. I thought he was good in some of those open side ball screens that got us some layups and some dunks. He was kind of the guy making the play. So, I mean, when you're a good player, you draw a lot of attention. And I thought he did a good job of that. Then I thought he made a few timely shots. And I wish his finishing would have been a little bit better today. I mean, if his finishing's a little bit better today and he's efficient, I mean, he could, instead of being 3 for 12, he's 6 for 12, 7 for 12, and, has 16, 18 points. I mean, I think it's right there. I don't think it's anything that there needs to be alarm bells going off or anything like that.
How do you think about Kobe and World Cup performance today?
From Tobey? Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Tobey. And Tobey's another guy who's kind of being asked to play a new role, maybe a little bit bigger and more consistent role than he's played in the past. I think he's adjusted really well. And, he just, I was watching some of these games and, the thing I kept noticing, he was just always off balance. And he really hadn't practiced like that. So, why? Why in these games are you getting off balance? Are you rushing? Are you breathing? Are you relaxing in the moments you need to relax? And I think he kind of got a little wound tight. And I think, we really kind of worked on it this week, and Tobey's an adult. You can have real conversations with him, and I think you see the game, the way he can kind of impact the game, the way he did today. I mean, he's a lot to deal with.
Other than that, deal with when Pella switched midseason, you have had. I know you talk about the depth and how you consider them equals, but you have had a pretty defined road to starters, and I'm wondering. Do you look at it kind of like this seems like you've got maybe 7 starters because you also have Tobey and Krivas that you've been looking at there, and is that something that could be ongoing where you?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I also think it's important at some point to establish a level of certainty with your team because I think that helps players, kind of know when and where their opportunities are going to come from, and I don't want it to be a situation where, I'm showing up and right when we go out to huddle, we tell a guy, hey, you're starting tonight. You're coming. I mean, I I don't know if that's healthy. So, yeah, but I legitimately feel like we have, we have, 7 or 8 guys that could start, and and so we kind of settled in on this one for now. We'll give it a look and see how it performs, over the next period of time.
Carter, I know part of that move a couple years ago was more comfortable as a starter. Do you see that with Carter? Is he?
Yeah, I mean, listen, hey, Carter he's going through all the experiences he needs to go through right now, and I know it's not coming easy for him, but that's not because he's not a good player. He's just got to kind of figure it out, and then he's gonna have a few Arizona moments where he kind of breaks through. He kind of had them in the second half of that Duke game a little bit. He'll have some more of those, and when he has more of those, he'll be able to kind of galvanize and understand what it feels like, and kind of, understand how to make it happen, but also understand to kind of let it come to him a little bit. I just think, he's just kind of stuck in there. So I'm comfortable with Carter in that role. I mean, he's, we're having great conversations with him. I mean, you look at his stat line today. I mean, I think, what does he have? He has 4 assists, 1 turnover. I mean, I've challenged him to be a connector. Was that 9 rebounds? I don't have my glasses, sorry guys, right now. So yeah, listen, he makes a shot, a couple free throws, he has a double-double, grabs 1 more rebound. So that's a really productive night. So let's not be just so sensitive on scoring, And Carter's a guy, some of these bigger wings like him coming out of high school, it just takes him a little time to adjust to kind of being more like a true perimeter player, because in high school, Carter was also the biggest guy on his team. So you have to understand this takes these guys a little bit of time, and they haven't, had the ball in their hands their entire life, dribbling the ball like, these young point guards have. So young point guards can kind of sometimes adjust a little quicker. The true 5 men are kind of what they are. They just got to figure out the physicality. It's just those in-between guys that sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, and I think I'd put Carter in that category. But guys, I'm really optimistic about, what he did today. To have 4 assists and 9 rebounds, in that role today was awesome.
Just wondering on top of that, if you sensed he felt maybe disconnected or whatever going in and having to wait 4 to 6 minutes to get into a game where he probably never done that in his life.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Bruce, I got news for you. Every guy that comes to Arizona has never done that in his life. We're not taking players that played JV their senior year. So every one of these guys was a star, played in all-star games, had multiple stars next to their name on the recruiting website. So it's an adjustment for every one of them. And so, yeah, I mean, let's give it a little bit of time. But I just like, when KJ made the decision, I really thought about it and thought how it made sense. Hey, the kids, put some shooting on the floor early. We know Carter's a good catch and shoot shooter. We know over time that's going to play out, where the numbers are going to be what we expect them to be. And, it gives him an opportunity to maybe, to spread the floor a little bit early in these games. And KJ comes in the game, and, that second unit can kind of become a little bit more of a ball handler and a playmaker. And, no, I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense. We just got to continue to look at it and make sure it's the right thing for the team.
You mentioned Conrad a little bit earlier. Where does he stand? I mean, you've gone to him deep in games like this, and then sometimes he's not getting in. I mean, is he?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can rely on him more?
I mean, I know I can rely on him. Now I just have to find the opportunities for him, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out. And Conrad is an awesome kid. He came in my office, I don't know, a week or 2 ago. You think it's going to be the talk, like, Coach, what does this mean for me? He said, Coach, this isn't about playing time. I just want to let you know, when you're ready to give me the opportunity to play, I'm ready. And I'm going to do it with confidence. And I'm like, wow, thank you. So you have a guy telling you that. You have a guy in KJ coming in and saying, hey, I think it would be better for our team if I came off the bench. I mean, those are the us decisions that's going to make us a team. And when you have guys, that have that high a character and are making those decisions, that bodes well for the future. And so those are the things I'm going to really wrap my arms around right now. But Conrad's the guy I would love to try to find a way to give him an opportunity every game. I can't promise that's going to happen, but I think when you see when he gets out there, I mean, he brings something to the floor for sure.
You got a similar week before another game, a bigger game at the end of it, but did you expect a similar week, or because of how do you approach it?
Yeah, no, we're gonna have a great week of practice. We're gonna roll up our sleeves. We're gonna compete. We're gonna get to work. We're gonna attack it with the character we want our program to show. We're also gonna understand we know where we're at. We know we don't have all the answers, and we know we have a really big game on Saturday. So we're fired up for that.
Does that change Anything about the practice though, knowing, I mean, is there more, with the whole week ahead, maybe less emphasis on individual and more on UCLA and that? Or-
Hey, you know what the emphasis is going to be on? Arizona basketball. Because here's the deal. UCLA is a good program. And if we go in and all we're worried about is UCLA and assume that we're going to show up and play well, we're going to get our ass kicked. So we got to make sure we go into that game and we do the things to play well to give ourselves a chance. Thank you, guys.